Loads of police. All I wanted was get in there because I thought he was there, and the police officer said he's not there.
I tried to get a cab. There were no cabs, so I was getting really frustrated, and it was such a beautiful day, and I was thinking nothing bad can happen on such a day.
We got to the hospital. The nurse said, "We're going to let you in to the operating room." And she was like, "The only reason why we're doing this is because there's a slim chance."
Temmie drove, so we got into the car and we were trying to get there, and we know the way to the hospital. I didn't know what way I was going. We were both crying and she couldn't really drive properly. It just seemed like we were driving for hours. I need to get to the hospital, I need to get there.
He was just lying there, and they were operating. His chest was open and you could see all of his organs. And at first I literally just felt like, I was like, that's not my brother, until I went closer and I saw his hands and his feet. My mum started to come out of the operating theatre, and I was just like, okay. I was like, "Mum, it's okay, like, he's gonna be fine." And then she stopped, and then she just looked at me and she was like, "He's dead."
I saw my mum and I was just hoping that someone would say, "No, he's actually made it, or he's all right, he's still hanging on." And then my mum was crying and everyone was crying, and then I realised that it was that he was gone. And yeah, I don't know.
I literally left this house thinking I was going to come back with him and he was going to be hurt, but he was going to be okay. And never in a million years did I think I was going to lose my brother. You know, and the one person that I just didn't want to lose, because I felt so protective over him, and I just felt like the one time that I should have been there for him, I wasn't. I was sleeping, you know, and that just crushed me.
I couldn't believe it because, you know, as we said, he was moving forward.
A 15-year-old schoolboy has been stabbed to death in a confrontation outside his school.
Stabbed to death before the school day had even begun.
Police are now trying to work out why he was killed in such a cold-blooded way.
We didn't really have an idea of what was fully involved until, you know, through the day, as more information was coming in and speaking to witnesses and some of the children who had been present when this was all going on. Some names were mentioned. A particular gang had been mentioned as being involved in this.
I knew quite early on from the police that the perpetrators of this crime were from the gas gang.
This is footage from YouTube. 4 of the 5 suspects appeared in this particular video. That's Jamal Moore, who features quite heavily in a lot of the rapping throughout YouTube where this gang are present. Carl Kinghorn here. And here you see Jamal Moore on the left, Helder Demore on the right, and in the middle of their heads is Ricardo Giddins at the back. I think they look like any other sort of gang of kids in London at times, but it was a vicious attack on a small 15-year-old boy. Zac was stabbed in the left buttock, twice to the chest. He had an injury to his neck, and there were also injuries to his hands where we believe he tried to fight off his attackers.
One line of inquiry the police are working on is that Zac was the victim of gang rivalry.
15-year-old Zac and his younger friend were confronted by a rival gang outside the gates.
They said this was a gang attack or something like that. It's a bit painful because it's kind of like they're neglecting the real issue, and they're not looking at him, because Zac was, like we said, obviously he was small, but he was 15 and he looked like he was about 11, 12, a lot smaller than his peer group. So for something like that to happen to him, it really upsets me that people are kind of looking for a reason for it. He wasn't innocent in a way. That's kind of what they're saying, and that's what hurts the most, I think.
Initially, All of the suspects denied presence at the scene. It's quite clear that they were CCTV savvy. That was why they were wearing hoods. In this particular case, the CCTV trawl extended over several miles, gathering the movements of all the suspects.
3,000 cameras worth of footage and thousands of hours of viewing required to prove identification. Clothing, trainers, heights. Carl Kinghorn was the tallest. Ricardo Giddins had a particular walk, a march, an army-style stride. Helder Demores had a bow-legged gait and a small, round head. Jamel Moore, very distinctive nose. He was quite a long nose. Although the hoodie is pulled very tightly, you can see the nose sticking out.
It's amazing how much you know about them.
Yeah, it's worrying, really. It did feel like we were almost part of the group because we'd seen so much of them. But we were satisfied that we could say on the day of the murder who was where and at what time and what they were doing. The attacker immediately behind him was Ricardo Giddins. He's then followed by Kyle Kinghorn, who's second in the chase. We then have Jamel Moore. Helder Demore was identified as the driver of the car. We know at this time, while this is happening, the other suspect has gone off on an attack of his own, if you like. He's attacking the other boy still at the school. As we watch through this footage, we notice that his left hand comes out and touches the post before running off. This information was passed on to our forensic experts. They were able to lift some print from the post. And he was later identified as Shaquille Houghton. That's the 5.
The meeting with the police, and they showed us when Zac was being chased. That was hard. That was really, really hard seeing that, especially the first time seeing him run and just seeing him there on the screen. It was so real.
You want to do something, you want to go to the screen, like you want to be there as he's running so you can stop him, but you can't. The way it happened, it was like he was a mafia boss, like it was a hit on a big person, but he was just a small person.
Before that, I was just imagining all sorts of things, and I think you imagine the worst, and like the worst it could possibly be, because then it can't get any worse. Seeing it, seeing what really happened, it helped to stop certain parts of the things I was playing over in my head.
Whatever punishment they're going to get, it's not going to bring my brother back, so you want to do something to them. And I was just having so much these thoughts that I really shouldn't really be having, like hurting them and hurting their families and stuff like that. I really shouldn't really be thinking that. It's only my family and my friends and God that kept me in such a calm way that I kind of like got the revengeful thoughts out of my mind.
When I think about sitting in the court and seeing the boys, you know, they were boys. These guys already had an online identity. They were used to engaging with technology. And yet, technology contributed to them being caught and convicted.
They claim not to be like in a gang or have any involvement in like gang activity, and then they played a video to the court.
Bucket ends and this is Rick Sick. When we make up and dial in the knee. You can catch me in the ends with a mini. Got a jazz in the gals, got a draw for a Jimmy.
We did do some work to prove that the gang that the also a member of were a gang intent on crime rather than their defence, which was that they were a music group.
Got some real mad dudes that don't play around. When I ride out on my strip, you get laid down.
Within the lyrics of this particular song, we were able to ascertain what the gang initials stood for. Jamal Moore actually uses the initials in the lyrics of his song, referring to guns and shanks. We also used some rapping from Kyle Kinghorn. Quite clearly, his reference to carrying a knife in his trainers. That's our interpretation, and that was in fact his admission when asked about it at court.
I was satisfied when he showed the video, because the jury were like, oh, okay.
Do you think they were very surprised, the defendants?
Yeah, I think they were very surprised, very shocked.
Yeah, I think they were a little surprised that we would use that sort of tactic, and we do watch these things the same as their peers do. You know, that it is out there, and if you're going to put it out there, it's open to our interpretation as well.
These gang members do think that they're savvy with computers and with technology. What they've got to realise is we use technology to our advantage. We are fighting a war with technology, and we're winning it.
When the news hit of their convictions and it was put on the BBC and Sky's whatever, I saw a Facebook comment, wow, they're YouTube faces. I think that the guys wanted fame, but the problem is these guys achieved fame for the wrong thing. And they're now paying for it, like at the cost of 18 years.
Can you just come over to here, please?
This has been an extremely painful process for us as a family. We have had to witness the last moment of Zac's life, played out on screen, all the while fighting the urge to reach out into the screen and help him as he ran for his life. We need to stand together as the adults, stop our young ones arming and killing each other. We cannot sit back and think that because it has not touched us directly, that we will not be affected by it. These young people are our future, and they need us.
For a good while, whenever I heard a student shout or scream, quite often they will in play, I would jump, and it was. I think that event still plays on a lot of stuff, and a lot of students. It is horrific.
And that smile is so Zac, that natural, just big smile.
Before Zac's funeral, we made a video and we collected pictures and different video clips.
Have you got anything to say?
Just really like documenting his life for people to really understand what Zac meant to us.
Football at Brockwell Park.
This was Christmas. And he's impersonating Naomi there.
All my life I've been thinking, what's the name? Dizzy Rascal, because my name's Naomi and I'm in love with him.
And he's reading his Bible.